Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. It is Saturday, and today is going to be a fun little video. It's mainly going to do with Justice League because has been a year since Justice League has been released, November 17th, 2017. And now we are 1 year later. But before we get to that, though, just a couple updates from the DCEU. One, Dante Basco has actually confirmed in a way, no, it has confirmed that his niece and a goddaughter, Ella Jay Basco, has been indeed cast as Cassandra Cain, aka he even puts on hashtag Batgirl. So that is maybe a confirmation as well, or is that what he's thinking? Who knows? But that is awesome to see some family support out there for her. And I know there's been some really tasteless comments about her being cast as Cassandra Cain. I won't get into it, but I am happy for her. This is great. Can't wait to see what she can do within that role. So I hope she goes out in there and kicks some ass, man. It will be pretty awesome. She kicks Batman's ass. Imagine her going after Ben Affleck Batman. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, whoa. You know, so let's see that happen, and that'd be pretty awesome. The other thing would be the Flash. Ezra Miller talks a little about his Flash movie. Now, we know there was a little bit of delay there as well, but he says this in regards to the future of the Flash movie. He says, "Nothing is ever certain in this world, but as certain as things get, we're making an effing crazy, dope Flash movie. It's one of my great life dreams, and just the fact that we're on the way. Anyone who knows about Barry Allen knows he may arrive late, very late, but once he gets there, it's all solved. We have to trust." And so he's referring to how the Flash has delayed, but they're definitely seemingly still making it, and it will come sooner or eventually rather than sooner. But there's the whole thing about swirling rumors about the film universe potentially switching up members of its cast, namely Henry Cavill's Superman and Ben Affleck's Batman. This is what Ezra Miller had to say. "When there are these leaks of information or however people get stuff, it's pretty unreliable," Miller replies. So that's his comment on that. And, we take a little for a grain of salt, but that is indeed a bit of truth. We don't actually have confirmation from either Warner Brothers or, Henry Cavill's camp or Ben Affleck and his camp about whether they're reprising the roles yet. Everything is kind of hearsay. There's just rumors and things out there. So let's wait until actual confirmation before, acknowledging that truths, facts rather than fiction. So I like his take on that, and it kind of reminds me of what Ray Fisher or even Black Manta had said, don't believe everything you hear, everything's all lies and things like that. So we just take in all this information, we kind of digest it, but we kind of know not to factually believe all this stuff. It's all rumors until actual sources, actual people from both sides confirms and clarifies. Then those are facts. But until then, everything's hearsay per se. But and Aquaman sounds like there's a lot of people who have watched it, a lot of different bloggers and critics, and they say seemingly appears to be great, good things about it, even though there is still an embargo on it. Not sure when that's lifting, so we'll have to wait and see about that. But the thing about Justice League now we're in the present time. It's 1 year later, and people are really talking about it up right now. We're talking about all their things that we didn't like of the film, how our expectations was failed, or how we thought the movie was going to be handled certain ways. Like, I know we already talked about how officials had said this and that about Justice League and how those came from actual sources and actual Warner Brothers and stuff. It didn't really come from Zack Snyder, but we know now that little information, that Hollywood Reporter, about them saying that Joss Whedon came in on Zack's behalf and changed it up, and they're just doing little things in here. Those were all lies. Now that we know now. So, but of course, a lot of those parties have changed. A lot of them got, canned in a way, or moved to positions and things like that. So we're not really sure this current regime and how they're actually going to move forward until maybe after we see Aquaman, Wonder Woman 1984, and Shazam, but maybe even further off when we see Birds of Prey and things like that. So we don't really know where this regime, where their stance is on it. Are they going to continue on with this Justice League debacle and just move on from that and just keep going forward? Are they going to actually go back to that in a way, or connect it to the Snyderverse in a way? You're waiting to see how they're thinking of that, if they are at all. But it's pretty clear that what we've been told in that, was it the Wrap or the Hollywood Reporter, I forgot who talked about that, about how Whedon came on and they're just doing little pickups here and there, nothing much, connective tissue and stuff like that. Oh, that was a lie. It was a complete lie. And the movie we got was not Zack Snyder's film. And it is sad. It is definitely sad to see that happen. And we've learned so much from a year later. We learned so much from Zack himself, how about he not knowing that Russian family. He's not knowing certain things, or those little weird alien roots. He doesn't know anything about that. He releases snapshots on Vero to show that this was from his movie, and we don't see any of that in the film. We know from Jay Oliva, who is, to this day, is still fighting on our behalf, talking about the Snyder Cut. Like, even today, when someone came up and said, Warner Brothers, this certain person says, yeah, well, Warner Brothers said it doesn't. They actually own the rights to it, meaning the Snyder Cut. Also, unless he was in the editing room and saw it being finished, then it doesn't. So it's very interesting how people are still going on that the Snyder Cut isn't real. And Vinaldo 7, Chris, actually put this out, that Jay Oliva says it is. Yeah, so it is. It exists. And this guy just didn't back down until Jay Oliva actually came out and actually put out this tweet and says, who exactly said that? I haven't seen any official word from the studio that the Snyder Cut doesn't exist. I did see it being edited. I was there in London. I sat with the editor, and Zack showed me sequences from it. Did I just magically dream all of that? Funny, my bank account magically went up while there. So, I don't think that guy came back and said anything. Oh, that pretty much just, stopped it right there. So it shouldn't be any argument the Snyder Cut exist anymore. It should be apparent. It does exist. It's probably maybe or maybe not in its finished or unfinished form. We don't know what part of it, but it did exist at that time. We're not sure if it exists now. There are people that say it does. There are people who said it's not completely finished, or he has a certain copy of it or something like that. But that's a different argument from the Snyder Cut is real. The Snyder Cut is real. And what better way to look into that further is through John Aaron Garza's from DC Films Hub. They put out a whole periodic table of Justice League, and he put it out in 3 parts. I think hopefully there's more, because I think it was pretty long, the one he originally had, which I couldn't download for some weird reason, although he put it on a Google Drive now, so I might try that. But he put out 3 parts, and I'll link that in the on YouTube, and I'll link that in the description below. You should check it out. painstakingly detailed, going through even scenes and frameworks of showing what is reshot, what's not reshot. Here's the proof. He goes into that, and a lot of us know when you were watching the movie many times. They're like, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. And I think Joe Movies also did the same thing. He actually, painstakingly put it in a sequence, and we figured maybe 50% of the movie, maybe even more, were reshot. Who knows? But it was really painstakingly detailed. To the fact that John Aaron even points out, this is how Zack Snyder shoots dialogue. This is how dialogue was in the theatrical cut. It doesn't make sense. So I love that. I love that people are doing that. It shows a little bit more. It's telling the studio that we're not stupid. There was something wrong with that movie. And I admit, when I first watched the movie, that first opening scene with Superman, I thought, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And then after many times of watching it, and the boyish, the boyish glee of finally seeing Justice League on the big screen fading away, and you keep wondering, what was Snyder done? What would have Snyder done? And it's really sad that we hopefully one day we'll get to see it. I don't know if we will, but hopefully one day we'll get to see it, and I really do. But at the same time, people are still fighting for it. We did that whole American Suicide Prevention thing, and part of that proceeds went to that banner that's going to fly over on Monday, I believe, and that's kind of cool. Hopefully people get snapshots of that. We're doing everything. We're sending letters. We did call-ins to the studio, things like that, much more than what they've done, was it 30 years ago, to get the Donner Cut release, much more. And since the age of internet, hopefully that means we'll get it faster. I don't think it'll be too quick, because like a lot of people say, that they want, Warner Brothers wants our attention to be on the next phase of films. And I'm just wondering, where would the Snyder Cut take place? Where would this be? Where would we get to be in the Snyder Cut? Where can this take place? And a lot of us are just wondering, is there something that happened with Wonder Woman 1984? They delayed it over there so that there's only one DC movie apparently next year, and we're not going to see Wonder Woman 1984 until the year after, along with Birds of Prey. Is that when? Is that the time between Shazam and then where we'll get to actually hopefully see a new version of this Justice League? I'm drinking. So if I'm slurring, I'm sorry. But I think hopefully that's what that means. I hopefully that means that we'd get to kind of, after we get Aquaman, Shazam out of the way, we can just repurpose the story again and get back into that zone. And that's why Wonder Woman 1984 is out there, Flash is out there, they've reworked it back. That's my own crazy hope and dream. I don't know if any of that's going to happen. That's just in my thoughts, and a lot of people's other thoughts as well. And so I don't know. And I want to know. I want to know that all that work that Zack Snyder had done to this whole universe, he actually gets to finish that trilogy he wanted. It won't be the 5-part movie that he wanted, but at least the trilogy. And then his legacy can live on. If he could just have that one little blemish gone, it would be perfectly awesome. And we will always remember this tweet where when Justice League came out that year, 1 year ago, and he says, "I will be honest, I have not seen the film since I stepped away. I love these characters. I wish I could only have finished it for you and the others who love Man of Steel and Batman v Superman." That tells us that he does care He does care for the characters. He does care to try to finish his story. And maybe, just maybe, all these clues, these things, he's not just remembering, he is fighting alongside us. He's trying to get his movie out there, or in legal terms or whatever. Maybe there's NDA, non-disclosure agreements that he can't even do. That's all in our heads, but it could be. I mean, it really could be. And we just have to keep the faith and hope. While some of you may not be wanting to continue with the DCU until you get the Snyder Cut, that's you. That's up to you. I will continue to watch them because I am also a DC fan. So I would love to see DC films, regardless of Zack Snyder's involvement or not. But my love for Zack Snyder and DC, that's like two. That's two golden tickets and one giant prize. And so that's what I'm hoping for, because we've started off with Man of Steel, we got Batman v Superman, and we just want to end it. Just give us that, then move on with that and see what he really contrived. What was he really trying to do? Or at least the one that's the last one that was approved to almost go out before he left, before Joss Whedon stepped in. That one, I think that one could still connect. It could still possibly connect to the DCEU, and showing the tone and things that they're doing with the DC streaming, maybe seeing how good that is with Titans and stuff. They're like, it's okay. Rated R Birds of Prey, it's okay. Joker, it's okay to go that route, to go that dark tone. It doesn't have to be kid friendly. And with that in mind, I think they could really accomplish something by releasing the Snyder Cut, to show that there is another version of that they could also make bank and money on. And I really hope that does happen. I really do. Zack Snyder doesn't have to give us anything, really. I mean, he really doesn't have to keep putting our hopes up and things like that, trying to get us to believe in faith in him, because we do. But it's really nice to see him do little things that, like putting out Vero post of his cut, and just really showing us that there was another version out there, But it's nice to see how he lives his life too. I mean, at seemingly at the crack of dawn, he had coffee, and then he talks about going to get a haircut. I mean, he goes to a place called Square Deal Barbershop and Lounge in South Pasadena, California. Zack Snyder's getting his haircut. And wait a minute.